Power of brand storytelling in business.
Yeah, power of brand storytelling. Are we live?
We are live.
Okay. Today we're going to be talking about telling your company story and why it's important. There's a lot of reasons why you should tell your company story. You can use it as a sales tool. That's what it is, really. It's a sales tool. You guys, you got your own story. We have our story. We have a story for you guys, so you can put in your quotes. And I don't know if you've seen our quotes and how we have them set up, but what do you think? Story at the top. Like, I'll start with the story and I'll explain it, and I'll tell the customer, like, hey, just real quick, I want to give you some background on our company. Me and Zach were at a meeting yesterday. We ran through it. Yeah. There you go. I told a lady over a Loom video that I sent yesterday our story over the call. But there's a lot of people that are salespeople who they have a company story in front of them, and they're just like, so the reason why we started was this, and this, and blah, 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 blah. And the reason why they do that is because they haven't connected what the story means to what's important to the customer. And the story that you tell should have attributes in it that you can connect to what the customer cares about. And they care about, there's only so many things they can really care about, but they care about quality products. They care about customer service. Like, if you put a roof on, you want to take care of them, not just today, but for the long term. And so the story has to relate to all that stuff. And so the story that we tell, and it's a true story, is Dan and Tate, they had a building together. They needed somebody to help them with their roof replacement. And what ended up happening was they called the 4 top roofers in the area. And hey, being fair, this story is strategically told, very strategically. Like, how it's built and how it's structured is all a sales tool. So when you tell the story, and for people who work here at this location, when you read the story, don't just read it, like, know it. Read it and be able to recite it without having to read off. Like, if you're going through a quote and you're like, so just a little bit about us, like, we started here in Whatcom County 3 years ago. Like, the customer is just gonna check out instantly. They don't care. But if you tell them the story, like, hey, by the way, I want to quickly run you through, like, what we're all about and how this whole thing got started. It's really important for you to know this, because it all ties into how we do business. And so when we started this 3.5 years ago, the founders who started this, they didn't have a roofing company yet, and they were looking for somebody to replace their roof on their building that they owned. They called 3 local contractors. It was the top of the line, top of Google contractors. The first guy that came out, super high pressure sales. He was trying to get him to buy right on the spot. The second guy, he called, he didn't show up. And then the third guy, he showed up but didn't send a quote till like 3 months later. Okay? And so they ended up getting the job done, but what they realized was the level of customer service in this local marketplace of the top guys, the bar was set so low, and they were so disappointed with the service that they got. They were like, if we just started a roofing company and provided better customer service, we would win. And it paid off for them, because now we've replaced hundreds of roofs, if not thousands of roofs at this point. And we have all the five-star reviews to back it up. And the reason I'm telling you that is because it's important to us that you guys never have to go through that. And we understand that when you get your roof replaced, you want to pick, it's not just about the quality of the products, it's also about the quality of the contractor and how much you can trust them, not just for today, but if something happens in the future, because things happen, roofing issues happen. So if you start relating all of those pieces of your story into what the customer actually cares about, it's going to drive it home for them. And they're going to feel like, okay, all those things leading up to this, it just builds that much more trust. Like, last night, I told the story and the guy was laughing about the contractor, not showing up or not sending a quote for 3 months. But after I told it and I relayed all that information to him and I said, hey, the reason why I'm telling you this is because we want to make sure that you have the best experience possible. At the end of the day, it boils down to the contractor that installs it. You can have amazing materials, but if the contractor who installs your roof doesn't do a good job, it doesn't matter. Those products are going to fail. And as much as you can sprinkle that stuff in and essentially get into their head and what they actually value, the more that story is going to be driven home. And this is just almost a way to sprinkle that value into the process. And so whatever your company story is, and this is something you guys can create too, like you started it for a reason. And you can modify your story a little bit. You can make it sound really good. And I'm not saying create a false story. I'm just saying you started this for a reason. And the reason you started this and your goals directly tie in with the goals of the customer. So if you can create a story, and you can use ours, like ours is good. And if you know it and you read it back to the customer, or you're able to repeat it and relate those value pieces into their experience, you can build your own too. And so I feel like a lot of people get, like, either they don't tell their story because they don't have a good one. And if you don't have a good one, just create one, because everybody has one. And you can have an amazing story and really drive it home for the customer. And this is like in the beginning of our quotes, you can see this. This is the first part of it. Like, here it is right here. I'll show you guys this. And I'm not expecting you to read it, but this is it. I don't even look at this when I tell it, because I already know it. You know what I mean? I already know the story. I walk them through it. And like, I just recited it to you guys, but really, it's just a vessel for delivering value to your customers. So when you're reading it, don't read it. Recite it. Recite it, right? Memorize it. Say it back to them, and relate it back to what they care about. And so this is like when you're presenting too, right? So you're sitting down at the table, you're talking to them, and you're starting to land the plane into your presentation where you're about to go through products and everything like that. And this is like a transition piece where you can be like, hey, you can talk about the company, you can talk about how important it is that you guys do a good job, and then you can say, and hey, by the way, like, that transitions me right into the products that we use, because of how important this is that we install the right products for your house. So like I told you before, we're not the cheapest company, and by default, we don't use cheap products. We want to put some really high quality stuff on your roof, and so I want to run you through that. Is that fair? And they say, yeah, okay, perfect. Then you can transition into talking about products and all that stuff. But the more you can work this in, like, a lot of people don't care about, they feel like this isn't an important piece. It's a super important piece of the puzzle. Yeah.
I feel like also it works to humanize SRS and the people who work here.
Yeah.
Rather than some cold corporate entity who doesn't care.
Mm-hmm.
We're people, we have a story and a reason why we do what we do.
Exactly. That's exactly right. So, and it separates you from the other companies that way, because
a lot of them just fire off the quote.
Exactly. We talked to the guy last night. What did the other companies do? The previous company just fired off a quote. Yeah. So we're stacking all of these things on top of each other. We looked in the attic. We got up on the roof. Those other guys, they told him, hey, you don't have to be home. We're just going to fly a drone. I'm like, we're going to win it. Like, there's no question. The people before sent a quote. The people who are after us, like, we're in the middle. Me and Zach went to a quote last night. We're the middle guys, the second. The third company told them, hey, we're just going to stop by and fly a drone. And it's like, you don't have to be home. And I'm like, dude, this is easy, you know? And this is all, like, all of this stuff, this too, this is just another thing, another layer to stack on top of why we're better. Companies don't do this, but they don't do it because they don't understand why it's important. And, like, this is just another piece on top of all of that. And so the more you can stack it up, we looked in the attic, and dude, I got up in the attic and there was still a paint seal on it. Nobody had been up there. So we were the first ones that got into the attic, and if we don't win that job, I might just run away. I don't know, because there's no way we're not winning it.
Just run to Canada.
What? Yeah, that would be barnacles. Yeah, that would be barnacles. So, yeah, this is just another layer, dude. Like this is so important, and I just wanted to talk about this, guys. This is like, tell the story. Hey, if you're not comfortable telling it right now, don't tell it. But like, we'll run it. We'll practice it. You and I will practice it. You and I will practice it. We'll practice presentation, and as we go through this, we'll practice each piece and how it transitions into the next, so it doesn't feel like you're just reading. Here's this package. This one has this warranty. This one has this warranty, right? The way that you flow through your presentation and relate it to exactly what they're looking for is super important. So that's really all I got for like storytelling. But tell your company story, and if you don't have a company story, create one, because you do have one. It's in your head. Write it down and figure out what customers care about. They care about trusting the company who's going to install the products on their roof, not just today, but for the long term. You can use that, not just today, but for the long term. Like, they know, and I always say this, if anything happens to your roof after we install it, there's a lot of contractors, you call them and they're not there. Like, they won't answer the phone and they won't show back up because they don't have systems in place and financial systems in place to be able to afford to come back. And I don't know, they're just not reliable. They're not around anymore. And the warranties that we use allow us to be able to cover the costs for all that stuff. And so like, that's a reason why the warranties are important to them, right? So yeah, what that means for you is that if anything happens, no money out of your pocket, you don't have to pay anything. We come back and replace it at no cost. So super important stuff. But hey, tell your company story. I want to get Tate out here so he can do his thing. But yeah, you guys got to write your company story, dude. Hey, Tate.
Tater.